can call me Mystic Mike because I predict these things.
Abus Magomedov takes on Joe Pyfer this Saturday on the main card of UFC 320. And this is a good fight. This is a big step up in competition for Joe Pyfer. In my opinion, he's coming in off of a kind of a lackluster performance over Kelvin Gastelum back in June. Had Gastelum in a lot of trouble in the first round. Gastelum kind of started getting his groove in the second in a very close round, and then Gastelum definitely won the third round. So not a great look by Joe Pyfer. He's had some great looks in the UFC where he looks like, you know, the next big up-and-comer at middleweight, and then he has performances like he did against Gastelum. He has performances against, you know, Jack Hermansson. So this will be a big test for him against Abus Magomedov, who's on a 3-fight winning streak. Also been one of those guys who looked like a great potential guy, and then runs into, you know, Sean Strickland, gets TKO'd, loses to Kyle Braulio, which isn't a terrible look. Braulio's pretty good, but 3-fight winning streak against Warlley Alves, Bruno Ferreira, in a fight that he was getting rocked in, but showed his grit and his ability to, you know, take the fight to the ground when he wasn't winning on the feet and get the win there. And then a weird fight over Pereira, where Pereira just you know, didn't look himself. Honestly, looked like he was betting against himself in that fight, and didn't get the win. And then really makes you wonder how good Pereira is, especially after the knockout to Kyle Dawkins. But I'm going to go with Abus Magomedov in this one. I haven't looked at the odds, but I bet he's an underdog. I just don't trust Joe Pyfer. I think Abus Magomedov is very good on the feet. He's a very talented striker. He's got good grappling, good submission ability. He's very well-rounded. I was always concerned about his cardio issues, but in his last few fights, he's looked good. He looked like he's been able to push a high pace, even with taking damage. I thought he struggled with his cardio, obviously, in the Sean Strickland fight. The Kyle Braulio fights just looked like he was getting kind of tired, but he looks like he's kind of shored that up. It looks like he's in much better shape in his fights, too, like lean and, you know, cut up going into him. So, Joe Pyfer is, I just feel like he's kind of like a 1-2 merchant. You know, he gets a lot of respect on the feet with his power, but as soon as you kind of start to figure him out and you figure out his timing, you can kind of take over. And that's what we saw in the Kelvin Gastelum fight. He started to have tons of success. You know, tubby, welterweight, should be welterweight Kelvin Gastelum. You know, I know he's got really good boxing. He's got crispy hands. He's fast, but I didn't like what I saw out of Joe Pyfer in that last fight. You know, he gets knockouts over Marc-Andre Barriault, which, you know, Dustin Stoltz was knocked him out. He's having good performances over Abdul Razak Hassan, Gerald Mearshart. Like, these are winnable fights. You know, these are layups for him, in my opinion. And Al Hassan was beating his legs up badly in that fight before he got the takedown, got the finish. I think that Abus Magomedov will be able to kind of implement that same strategy. Stay long on the feet, stay defensively responsible, stay away from his power hands, land kicks. And I think if Joe Pyfer tries to mix it up and start shooting, I think Abus Magomedov's got the ability to grapple with him as well. Joe Pyfer, he wasn't able to get really his grappling game going against Jack Hermansson. I think he stuffed all of his takedowns. I'd have to double check that. Don't quote me on that. But Jack Hermansson was able to put together a really good game plan in that fight to beat Joe Pyfer. Started to take over on the feet as well. And I just don't think Joe Pyfer is as skilled on the feet, you know, as we think that he is. He's big. He's got submission ability as well. But I think against somebody like Abus Magomedov, who is very well-rounded, who's very dangerous anywhere the fight goes, if he's not doing well on the feet, he can look to grapple, and vice versa. I think that he'll be a little bit too much for Joe Pyfer, who I just haven't been really impressed with in his last few fights. And I think somebody who's a tactician like Abus, who puts things together very well, who looks like he's starting to shore up some deficiencies in his game, I think that he'll be able to have success against Joe Pyfer on the feet. He's what is he, 6'2"? They're both 6'2", but Magomedov's gonna have a 3-inch reach advantage heading into this one. He's 35, so kind of getting up there in age, but still technically in his prime, and has a lot of momentum as well. Got some good wins over Bruno Ferreira, Michel Pereira. These are good guys at middleweight. Even though Pereira did look awful and then looked awful in his last fight, still a good win. Whereas Joe Pyfer seems like whenever he takes like a step up in competition against, you know, a decent person, Jack Hermansson, Kelvin Gastelum, he's really struggling to put it all together. So I'm gonna go with Abus Magomedov to get this one done. He is a big underdog, plus 180. Joe Pyfer is a minus 220 favorite in this one, which I can understand, but I just haven't seen enough from Joe Pyfer to think that he beats somebody as well-rounded and as experienced as Abus Magomedov in this one. So I'm gonna go with Magomedov to get the underdog win. Thanks.